Okay, the weather's not so great outdoors right now, but it is going to get better this weekend. And it is the unofficial start to summer here in the state of Michigan. And Dave Lorenz with us now on the MegaCast. And Dave, we will say summer in Michigan is by far the best season of the year.
Well, you know what? It's funny. I know I'm supposed to say I agree with you, but I'm not a summer fan. I mean, I'm okay with this temperature. I know people are saying, is this guy crazy? I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt right now. And I know by Saturday afternoon, it'll be a short sleeve shirt. And then by Sunday, I'll be in shorts. So, that's the thing about Michigan. You get to enjoy all different types of weather in our four seasons, and occasionally all four seasons in one weekend. So let's get it kicked off and enjoy it.
That is so true. All four seasons in one weekend. I'm sticking to home today in my pajamas.
Yeah, I did see on my app, we have a frost warning in effect for tonight in my area. So, oh my. Yeah, we're ready for warm weather. And so here's the great news. Life's coming back to normal. We can travel again. Those vaccinations are out there. And if you haven't had yours, please do, because that is the ticket to get life back and to allow us to get back to traveling, to get back to the places we've missed, the people we've missed, the experiences we've missed. It's time. And this weekend, don't put it off. If you haven't had those vaccinations, please do. And I'm no doctor, but I'm just somebody who just wants you to be able to get out there and take that darn mask off when you can. So think about it. If you haven't done it already, please.
Yeah, and with that, too, because we know that the vaccination rate really is kind of that lifeline for so many of our businesses to be able to return to normal. But, really the exciting news this week, Faster Horses is coming back. And that really is the first big concert since February 2020 here in the city of Michigan.
Yeah, I'm so happy to see live venues come back into play. We have a small one of those listening rooms called 7 Steps Up near where I live in Spring Lake. They've started to have performances. I see the Ann Arbor Art Festival has just announced it is coming back after initially saying it wouldn't. So here's the great thing. Ionia Free Fair is just announced. I mean, these festivals and events, live venues, they've realized that we're almost at that herd immunity thing. So they feel comfortable. They have a way so we can safely open up and start to enjoy these things. I can't wait. I was earlier this week in the Bel Air area, Bel Air, Ellsworth, all that area. And I attended and took part in a ribbon cutting ceremony for the Chain of Lakes new area of paddling and such. They put together, it's basically 100-mile long chain of lakes and rivers, and Paddle Antrim put together all these signage markers so you know where to get out. There's an app available. It's just fantastic. So I was out on a kayak already, just loving it. And there's nothing like that. We get to experience these things, and that's the thing about warm weather season. Now is the time to do it.
Well, and we do know, especially over spring break, a lot of families have already started traveling. They went to Florida a lot. However, there are a lot of people still not comfortable with getting on an airplane just yet.
Yeah.
So that really means continue to explore Michigan's backyard.
Yeah, it does. And, so I'm going to surprise you again, Ronnie. I want people to get back into planes when they feel comfortable, because traveling is good for the mind, body, and soul. And I've flown a few times this last year for work and for pleasure. And I felt very comfortable because of all the safety protocols they put into place. But we need to travel. I hope we get your fair share of the travel experience here in Michigan, because I think we deserve it. And I think we have so much to offer. But I know there are places that people want to go to they haven't been to for a while outside of the state. When you feel comfortable, get out there, travel. See places you haven't been to before. Be with people who are different than you, who look different, sound different, act different. This is the way we're going to solve some other bigger problems in society. I want people to travel and help our economy in Michigan, but I want people also to get to know that that, even though we might look different, at the end of the day, we are all the same. We want a better life for our kids and our grandkids. And we have to learn that through full immersion in other communities and in other cultures. And that's the best thing about travel. It's not just about having fun. It's about experiencing life in other people and understanding that prejudice has no position in this world. Mark Twain said that travel is fatal to bigotry, prejudice, and narrow-mindedness. That's why we need to travel, as much as for the economic benefit and for the benefit that comes to us and the freedom of travel. It's so good for us. So get out there, have a good time.
I know. Now you have me wanting to book a trip. We were scheduled to go to Italy right when this happened,
Yeah.
but like I have a friend, she's in Egypt right now.
Oh,
Look
yeah.
at Facebook. I'm like, okay, but you do.
Yeah.
It opens your heart and your mind.
It does.
To new things and new people, and it brings us together and it connects us.
Yeah, Italy is actually the number one travel destination in the world. So here's the interesting thing: places like Venice. For years, the people who live in Venice have been pushing back against those huge cruise ships. And frankly, I think they had lost proper management of the travel scene there, and too many people coming at once and into a small space. So there was all this pushback, anti-tourism commentary. Now, what's happened this last year without travelers, without tourists, to communities that depend on that? Businesses have fallen apart, communities have fallen apart. And what has happened is there's a better appreciation for the travel industry. So I'm hoping that, my friends, I live in the Grand Haven area. My friends would tell me, you ruined summer here because you bring all these travelers here. And I always tell them, relax. But, because if it's only because of those travelers that communities can afford all the beautiful amenities that residents get to enjoy the rest of the year. And so now there's a better understanding of this. So for communities that are really, really busy in the summer months, for instance, and that get travelers traditionally, I hope the people there will have a more welcoming, receptive, hospitable way to truly welcome them in the future. Now that there's been a real hard-lived lesson on how important travel is for our communities.
I mean, you take it 1 year out of a business's economy and it can be devastating.
Yeah.
And Dave Lorenz here with us on the MegaCast, Vice President for Travel Michigan Economic Development Corporation. And with that too, Dave, we are hearing some of these nightmare stories though about trying to get car rentals right now, or booking hotels or Airbnbs. So as people start to hit the road, there are going to be challenges ahead, at least for the next few months.
Yeah, in several ways. We can't get enough employees to staff our businesses. And by the way, the travel industry is not alone. I heard Janelle was talking about this, about agriculture as well, and all other businesses. And frankly, we need to get a hold of some of our policies to make sure that they make sense. And you look at the federal policies on unemployment benefits and mixing with state policies, they really do disincentivize people going back to work. But there are so many other reasons why people aren't going back to work. They still feel a little uncomfortable about going back because of COVID. They've been home, a lot of them on unemployment benefits, and they've been caring for their kids. And now what do? Because they also can't find childcare right now. So it just kind of goes on and on and on. We're on this tipping point as a society that I think policy-wise, we need to make sure that we're trying to adjust as time goes on. And we're not too fast about that. We're kind of slow, kind of behind the wheel on that one. And that's just the way we are. But as a society, we need to also figure out, okay, what are the proper work policies? How many people can work from home? How many businesses can afford to pay people more without increasing the cost of their services and products too much to the point where customers simply won't come there anymore and won't purchase those products or services? So all we're at kind of the tipping point in all these things. And so this next year is going to be very important as we figure all these things out. But in the interim, there are going to be a lot of frustrations for travelers because a lot of businesses won't be able to fully open. Restaurants will have fewer people. It's going to be longer lines. This is just the way it is. So as Janelle and you were talking, Ronnie, and we need people to be patient, to try to be kind, to be the best of who they are, because during this pandemic, let's admit it, we have not been our best. You could say many of us have been maybe our worst. We've lost that ability to be patient, and we need to take a second and take a deep breath and just pause and understand that people are trying their best to serve our needs. So I'm hoping just as we get out there, we remember that, because a lot of times that young person who's at that front counter, they're my daughter, my son, my nephew, my niece, yours as well. And let's remember that, hey, they're our family too. So let's try to be patient and give people a break.
So with that, Dave Lorenz, Vice President, Travel Michigan. And with that, in today's day and age too, everyone has a cell phone. Yeah. Listen to music, watch a movie while you're waiting,
Well, hey, tune into the new Pure Michigan channel on Pandora, because it's got great music, mostly Michigan artists, some others just to kind of fill the gaps. You'll love it. And it's groovy.
It's groovy. See, look at that. There are ways to entertain yourself so that you don't become frustrated in these moments as we are waiting, because the lines are going to be long this year. And with that too, Dave, what about for people that are here, they live in the state of Michigan, maybe they have like a cool setup in their backyard. Airbnb is exploding right now, and not just Airbnb, there are some of the other similar ones as well. When should a person try to make that decision to rent out that additional space in their yard? Or are there certain areas that are so much more popular?
Yeah, it's hard for me to make recommendations in that regard, because the whole sharing economy business, that's also in a transition right now. We started with the Airbnbs and the Verbos and the home and aways and such, and communities are trying to figure out what the proper policies should be to make sure that we're not overrunning our neighborhoods with visitors. We created hotels to take visitors in, and now this new concept about charging people to stay in your home is kind of shaking up communities. And so I hope we'll never change our policies to disallow local communities from deciding how many of these sharing economy properties should be in a neighborhood or in a community, because it can really make adjustments to the neighborhood that are not desirable. So I'm just hoping that if people are considering this, that they check with their short-term rental committee, which likely their community has, and check into seeing how many others are in their area, because you just don't want to overwhelm a neighborhood.
That is so true. And with that too, Dave, Memorial Day weekend, it typically is the weekend so many people are taking off. We used to get a ton of people here in our community for the big Orchard Lake St. Mary's Festival. That's not happening this year. So there are fewer things going on locally. So if someone is thinking about doing some last minute travel plans, and we know gas prices are up, so maybe, it's a tank or two away. Yep. Your top places for people to visit last minute.
Just by chance, I am heading up to Michigan's Adventure later on this afternoon for a ribbon cutting of the new Snoopy Adventure Park as part of their, this is Michigan's biggest amusement park. It's in Muskegon. So they open up tomorrow. They're going to be opening up for the season. And by the way, I think they're going to be closing on Tuesdays and Wednesdays this season because they can't get enough employees. That would be a great place to consider. Any of our resorts, you can't go wrong. Our Northern Michigan resorts, they've all really come a long way. You think about it, great food, spas, golf courses, fitness facilities, places to enjoy nature. But I'd also look at some of the small, lesser known towns. Check out what we call the Sunrise side, maybe that route along 23. Tawas City, Oscoda, Alpena. If you want the little cabin type things, you can find it in the Oscoda area. Go to Alpena, do a lot of cool things like check out the lighthouses, go find fossils at Rock Point Park. It goes on and on and on. And I know you'll enjoy it. So we always say your trip begins at michigan.org. Do a little investigation, know where you're going, and make your booking before you go this year, because you don't want to get lost out there.
Yeah, and you know what? It really is, from a parent's point of view, make it an adventure. Just like you said, what is that? Hey, we're going to see all the lighthouses. We are going to, if your family likes to golf, we're going to go to how many different golf courses, but whatever it may be, it can really add to the excitement and the fun.
Travel can be educational for both kids and for parents. Should be. I'm married to a retired teacher, so everywhere we went, it was like being in a classroom for my son and for me, and many times as well. So, do that. It's a great way to enjoy a travel experience with the family. And again, we do have a kids page on michigan.org. So if you're looking for kind of like a worksheet before you go, you can find it there. Otherwise, just find cool places to go where kids are going to love it as well, because that's a big part. If your kids are having fun, you're going to have fun too.
Do you anticipate all the campgrounds are going to be packed this weekend?
It's going to be busy. Certainly, I know along the big lake fronts, almost all the campgrounds going to be pretty close to packed. And as you go closer up north, it'll be busier. I know I-75 is pretty jam-packed going north right now. So, that's another reason kind of stay closer to home if you want to, because you'll find a lot of fun things to do on the interior of the state. Remember, we have 11,000 inland lakes in this state. You're going to find a place where you can be on water. Don't worry about that. So a lot of private campgrounds in addition to all the state campgrounds. So check it out. You'll have a great time.
I will say, Dave, just another minute or two here with you on the MegaCast. And I am a part of a Facebook group where they chase the Northern Lights in Upper Michigan. And I'm like, this is on my bucket list. It is on my bucket list. I'm going to see them one time.
Well, in fact, I'm going to go after Michigan's adventure. I'm heading up to Mackinac. And one of the things we're going to do, assuming it's clear enough, and I think it will be tonight, certainly tomorrow night, we're going to go to the Headlands International Dark Sky Park, which is just to the west of Mackinac City. It's right on the tip of the mitt, right on the lakefront. And you go there at night. It's designed so very well. So like on the sidewalks, they have those little red lights that don't interfere with the optics, so you can see the stars. And I know a couple of days ago, we had the Northern Lights out. You never know, might be out there.
You are just a walking encyclopedia of Michigan's travel spots.
I'm an old guy. You tend to pick up a lot of things over time, and luckily my position does get me out there. So there's a lot to see and do, and that's the thing about Michigan. You never know what you're going to find until you get out there. So explore, meet new people, talk to people. Sometimes people are surprised to be talked to in some places. In Michigan, it's okay. Go talk to people. They'll love it on the sidewalks or in restaurants, and ask them at the local area, what are the cool things to do and see? That's the way to travel.
Yep. Always ask the locals. The first thing I do when I go to a new city is I go to the local dive bar.
Yeah. I go to the restaurants. That's my scene. And especially kind of the Greasy Spoons. I love those places. Little town restaurants with homemade food, and you find really nice people there, and they'll give you ideas.
Yes, absolutely. Dave Lorenz, always great having you. We wish you a fun Memorial Day weekend as well, and safe travels to you.
Same to you, Ronnie. Thanks. Enjoy the weekend, everybody.